Jesus knew exactly what was coming, and he still asked if there was another way. This is the most raw, unfiltered moment we see from Jesus in the Gospel of Mark. We're exploring Gethsemane in Mark 14:32-42. Let's read verse 32 from the ESV. And they went to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." They went to a place called Gethsemane. Went from where? In the previous passage, Jesus and the 12 were on the Mount of Olives after the Passover meal. Now they've gone to Gethsemane, at the base of the Mount of Olives. The name Gethsemane means oil press, and is a place where the olives from this mountain are crushed, and the oil is squeezed out. But Jesus came here to pray. He told his disciples to sit there while he prayed. But not all 12 of them. Look at verses 33 and 34. And he took with him Peter and James and John, and began to be greatly distressed and troubled. And he said to them, "My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch." For a third time in Mark's Gospel, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John with him to witness a significant event. First, it was the raising of Jairus' daughter. Second, the transfiguration. And finally, Jesus' contemplation of what's about to happen to him and his final resolve to go to the cross. Let's not breeze past that too quickly. What happens in Gethsemane is on the same level of significance as raising the dead and appearing in glory with Moses and Elijah. This is a very big deal. Mark tells us that Jesus began to be greatly distressed and troubled. Throughout Mark's Gospel, Jesus has been calm in every crisis, unshakable. But now, he's greatly distressed and troubled, and he makes an amazing admission. "My soul is sorrowful," meaning very sad, even to the point of death. "I'm so sad I feel like I might die." He has predicted his betrayal and death many times in Mark, and the hour is almost upon him, and with it, crushing sadness. Then he gives Peter, James, and John 2 imperative commands. Remain here and watch. Watch is more literally, stay awake. Wait right here and stay awake. Look at verses 35 and 36. And going a little farther, he fell on the ground and prayed that, if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, "Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me. Yet not what I will, but what you will." Jesus separated himself from the 3 apostles by a little bit, and Mark tells us that Jesus fell on the ground. He didn't sit. He didn't kneel. He fell on the ground and prayed. The word translated prayed implies a face-down, prone position. Mark's language paints a vivid picture. Jesus fell to the ground on his face and prayed. What did he pray, and how does Mark know? Jesus separated himself from Peter, James, and John. As far as we know, there is no eyewitness to report the content of this prayer. But the Gospel writer tells us that Jesus prayed, "Abba, Father." Much has been made of the use of the Hebrew or Aramaic Abba, along with the Greek pater, suggesting that it is an intensely intimate address from the beloved Son to God, his Father. And Jesus is certainly calling God his Father here. But in Mark's Gospel, which was written in Greek, when he uses terms from another language, he usually offers a translation or explanation for the benefit of his original audience who may not know the other language. So, what's the point? Abba, Father, may simply be the word Father in 2 languages, Aramaic and Greek. That takes nothing away from the intimate relationship, but it may prevent us from overemphasizing a point that is clearly not the main thrust of the verse. And what is the main thrust of the verse? Jesus begins with, "All things are possible for you." His Father is omnipotent, capable of doing anything. And what does Jesus wish to have his Father do? "Remove this cup from me." What cup is he talking about? Mark doesn't tell us, but there are a few Old Testament verses that shed some light. Look at Isaiah 51:17. Wake yourself, stand up, O Jerusalem, you who have drunk from the hand of the Lord, the cup of his wrath, who have drunk to the dregs the bowl, the cup of staggering. The prophet addresses Jerusalem and references waking up from sleep and a cup of God's wrath. Sleep is going to be pretty important in our exploration of Gethsemane. Look at Jeremiah 25:15. Thus the Lord, the God of Israel, said to me, Take from my hand this cup of the wine of wrath, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. Again, the cup refers to God's wrath. While neither Jesus nor Mark explicitly explains what cup Jesus wants removed, or why he would be drinking it, the Old Testament allusion points to God's wrath against sin and disobedience. If the impending cross is to be a substitutionary death by a sinless man on behalf of sinners, to pay the price for their sins, the cup of God's wrath would be a fitting metaphor for what Jesus is about to experience. Father, I know you can do anything. Please remove this cup from me. Make it so I don't have to taste your wrath against sin. But then he says a most amazing thing. Yet not what I will, but what you will. The word will means want, desire, or wish. Jesus is actively submitting his own wants and desires to those of God, his Father. I don't want to go through this. It's going to be horrible. I know you can do anything, including taking this cup from me. But I want to see your will done more than I want to avoid this suffering. So I yield my will to your will. I will do whatever will satisfy your desired outcome. I will drink this cup. Wow, that is a powerful act of will on Jesus' part. Look at verses 37 to 38. And he came and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, Simon, are you asleep? Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Jesus returned to the 3 apostles, Peter, James, and John, and found them sleeping, like the prophet found Jerusalem sleeping in Isaiah 51:17. Notice that Jesus addresses Peter, not all 3, and notice that he calls him by his pre-discipleship name, Simon. Why do you think that is? It could be that because Peter is believed to be the primary source of information for Mark, he's the focus in Mark's account of this event. Or it could be that Peter was the first one called to discipleship, back when his name was Simon, so he's addressed as the leader. Or it could be because, in the passage just prior to this one, Peter vehemently claimed that he would die before he would deny Jesus. Even if all the others denied him, Peter would certainly never deny Jesus. But old Simon couldn't even stay awake for a little while, as Jesus asked. In verse 34, Jesus told the 3 to watch or stay awake. Now in verse 38, he adds, pray to the commands. Stay awake and pray to keep from temptation. Then Jesus adds perhaps the ultimate expression of the human conundrum. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Peter meant it when he said he would never deny Jesus. But the flesh is weak. And a spirit of deep devotion can still be overcome by the longing of the flesh to close its eyes, if only for a moment. On to verses 39 and 40. And again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. And again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were very heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. The same pattern was repeated, the same prayer, and the same 3 sleeping apostles. They are speechless in their shame. They can't answer for their failure to stay awake and pray. Their eyes were very heavy because the flesh is, indeed, very weak. Look at verse 41. And he came the 3rd time and said to them, Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? It is enough. The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. It happened a 3rd time. He came and found them sleeping. So what? Why does it matter that it happened 3 times? Peter had been told that he would deny Jesus 3 times before morning. He swore he would never deny Jesus. But in the Garden of Gethsemane, shortly before Peter's 3 denials, he fell asleep 3 times. 3 disappointments, foreshadowing 3 denials. The spirit is willing. The spirit may even be certain. But the flesh is weak. Next, Jesus said, "It is enough. The hour has come." The Greek word translated, "it is enough," is apake, and was commonly used to say, "received in full," or "the bill is satisfied." Jesus is not telling them that they've slept enough. He's announcing that this time of prayer and sadness is complete. The task of Gethsemane is done. The hour has come. It's time to move on from here and into the fulfillment of the will of his Father. And Jesus explains to the three apostles, the Son of Man, the messianic title that Jesus keeps applying to himself, is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Notice that he says, is betrayed, not will be betrayed, not is about to be betrayed, not even must be betrayed. The betrayal of Jesus is a present reality as he is speaking to Peter, James, and John. Look at verse 42. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. Isaiah 51:17 began with, wake yourself, stand up. Now Jesus tells them to arise or stand up, let's go. Not let's run and hide, but let's go forward to fulfill the will of my Father. Behold, the one who betrays me is at hand. Stand up. The time for the bitter cup is now. What is the big lesson of Gethsemane? Jesus knows how bitter a cup waits for him. He's crushed with sadness in anticipation of the impending horrors. But when the hour comes, and it's time to go, he doesn't run away. He continues to march toward the cross and his Father's will. Jesus moved from anguish to resolve and into action. It's that act of will in the face of crushing sadness that makes Gethsemane an event of great importance, like the resurrection of Jairus' daughter and the transfiguration. Jesus has fully accepted the cross and is walking toward it. Next time, Jesus and Judas and the arrest of the Messiah. Thanks for studying with me. We're in the home stretch now.